We had such a great conversation at dinner last night about this, and we just spoke candidly, and we kind of went back and forth, but what about this and what about this? Well, I'm here to say we are here to stay as an electrical distributor for years and years and years to come, because there are going to be some products, such as probably the cadet line, that's just not going to make sense for an electrical distributor or for the customer to have that kind of product sourced through the electrical distributor. However, on the cadet line, I hope it's okay, Hutch.
No, go ahead.
Since you have an example, they have figured out a fantastic model. It's a fantastic model. Do we still have to follow that model? Yeah, to some extent we do. But so much of our product has to be value engineered, has to be designed, has to be put together. We offer services that is not required to sell the cadet type product. So when you look at what you have on the shelf, go look online and see who's sourcing it online. Then you have to start wondering, you know, how much of that do you need to stock versus how much of that are you going to step away from? How are you going to make yourself a very unique offering? The one thing that we offer all of our customers is that we are a service arm. I said 10 years ago, you know, we're becoming so much alike. We all have pipe and wire and light bulbs and switches and boxes, and that's our lives. But it's services that's going to differentiate us. There's an awful, awful lot of opportunity out there that we're servicing today, and new things that we can do tomorrow that we haven't even dug in and asked our customers about, what do you need us to do? And by the way, it could be chargeable on their jobs. So I think that we will be here to stay for a long, long time. I think our product mix will probably change over time, and we certainly need to be aware of the online pressure and where we're going to go. So we're going to have a little bit of touch on everything, but we offer something that I think would be very hard for the manufacturers to go back and replicate. Because by the way, the channel was created so they didn't have to do all that work. Maybe they want to do that work now, but there is a value add, and we're going to offer it, and we will maintain it and sustain it for years and years to come.
You know, I just want to add on to what Mo said about we're going to be here for years to come. You know, over the years, big boxes came and scared us half to death, right? And I think we have seen that we have still grown as an industry in spite of that. You know, this whole concept of buying online, it's not new. I mean, I can remember sitting in an industrial facility as a salesman in '95, and the purchasing agent pulling something up on the internet, and I'd never even been on the internet yet at that point, and saying, you know, I can buy this same product that I'm buying from this guy for whatever cheaper. Well, why don't you? Well, it's because of the value that you bring to me as a salesperson, as my supplier partner, is the reason why I don't. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we can all learn from is anybody can go out and buy anything anywhere they want to buy it. But as soon as we allow ourselves as individuals to become a commodity, that's when we need to be scared. As long as we continue to grow our talents, grow our abilities, enable ourselves to differentiate what we do versus the online presence, I think we continue to grow. But if we allow ourselves to become a commodity as people, I think that's where the real challenge becomes.
Yeah, Grainger came to one of our customers back about 10 or 15 years ago when they were starting to get into this, internet sales, and they're doing a great job with that. But with our contractor sales, I talked to the guy that he went to, and he said, you know what, it's kind of a slick system and stuff, but you know what, it's easier for me just to call Bill and give him the order, our salesman. Right. And for them to go in and try to find the products and that type of thing, I think in order to be successful in that, you'd almost have to have a market basket of products designed for the customer for him to go in and be able to just click and go. But otherwise, it's too time consuming. Now, on the other hand, I just read an article on the plane coming in yesterday. Dirk Van Dongen, who's been president of NAED for years, which is the umbrella organization over all distributors, he's very, very concerned that distribution, not just electrical, but all distributors are not taking Amazon.com seriously enough. And after having dinner with Hutch last night, it was funny because I just read this article, and I think we still need to not have our head in the sand with this issue and keep being aware of it. And like Mo says, go on the internet and see what's going on, and keep talking to your customers to find out what's actually happening, because as we all know, things can really change in a hurry. So I think we just need to have an awareness of it.
Hi, Neil Schaefer with Dickman Supply. Just wondering if I could get you guys to potentially share some of the principles or philosophies that you've used over your careers that have helped get you to the level that you've achieved.
I try to spend half of my time outside the business finding out what's going on, so that I'm kind of the scout and keeping my head up and out, because I think a lot of times in a business you end up with heads down, everyone's working so hard, and things come and go, and so that's one of my roles. And just, I don't know, I guess I'll put this in at this point too. The other thing our company does every year is we ABC each person, and each department person has to have a certain percentage, I think 10% have to be Cs of people that work for you. And we're just trying to, as a group, and we have a team that does it, what do you think about that person? What do you think? And we just sort of arbitrarily give them an A, B, or C. And we go, okay, and we record the names. And the A players, we make sure that their compensation is appropriate so we don't lose them. And we acknowledge them more. The C players, we all agree that that C becomes either a B or an A in the next 12 months, or we will help them out of the business and try again, because the future is like a football team. You can't have C players on the field, whether it's a special team or the defense or offense or whatever, because one weak link will slow the whole team down. And we've been doing this now for 15 years. It's been very successful for us. And we have a process where we go to a person and we say, you know what, this isn't working. And they go, yeah, I don't like working here either. Well, let's help you. And we help them transition out of the business in a very friendly, positive way. So there's just another thing that we do.
Yeah, I think just some things I've learned over the years is I think it's a good thing to try to lead by example. I mean, if rather than telling people to do things, if they see what you're doing and you set a good example, I think that's a good path to track on. Also, you're going to be faced as a leader during your career with different decisions. And some are going to be kind of tough, and some of them are going to be the angels on this shoulder and the devils on this shoulder. And I would encourage you to always dig way down in your soul when you have to make a decision, and always do the right thing, what you think is the right thing. I think that's one of the most important things you can do in leadership. Like I said before, catching people doing the right things is in management by walking around, that type of thing. Keep pace of what's going on with your people. And also, I would encourage you, and also encourage you to encourage your people to always stretch yourself, okay? Stretch yourself. I mean, there's times where you feel, well, you get in a comfort zone, you say, well, I don't want to, I'm kind of a little afraid to do this or do that. But I would encourage you to try to challenge yourself and always stretch yourself to do the best you can. And that's our goal in our company, is to get the people to the best level they're possibly capable of, and then compensate them fairly, and always listen and be attentive, and be sincerely interested, like our speaker today said. Be sincerely interested in your people. If you're sincerely interested in them, they'll see that, and they'll want to perform for you. But on the other hand, you also have to be firm at times. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being firm as long as you're being fair. And I think people, even if you're reprimanding them, if you're being fair about it and honest about it, they'll appreciate that. And then I think one of the characteristics of a good leader, one of the main characteristics, is integrity. You've got to walk the talk, okay? And I think you need to be honest and sincere with your people, and they will appreciate that, and they'll know that you're good for your word.
One of the things that I suggest is and I've mentioned it earlier, having 5 very good individuals here is just surround yourselves with great people. You know, their efforts are much stronger than mine. So, you know, the better people that you can have around you, the better opportunities that it's created for all. You know, another thing that I would encourage everybody to do here, if you're a first-time attendee or been going for a while, you know, I can remember probably a dozen years ago, Lou Fromm from Fromm Electric was the chair back then. It was the YET conference, and he came up with a little slogan at the end of the year, at the end of the conference, in this tear apart sheet, which we were to share best practices, 2 or 3 with, and it was the SWIPE sheet. Okay, SWIPE stood for Steel with Integrity and Pride Everywhere. and I actually still have a copy of that, but really what that boils down to is I've developed some great relationships with individuals within this conference, both on the distributor, manufacturer rep, and manufacturer side. And we continue to bounce ideas off of each other today. You know, don't feel like you have to recreate the wheel for everything that you do. You know, learn off of your peers, bounce ideas off of each other. And one other thing, you know, I think Mike Barker told me a long time ago, if you want an opportunity for the next position, do a great job in the job you have today. And I always remember that to this day. So
I think the word that comes to my mind is delegate. It does a couple things for you. If you delegate your work, you can stay connected, and you can also circle back around to make sure that person's doing the right thing for you. But it helps a person grow, and in the meantime, you're growing to something more you can spend more time on, so you can become a better leader. It also holds the people that you delegate to accountable, and you'll be able to know how to grow your team better by delegating. I remember Keith Topper, he taught me that a long time ago. I was doing something at work, I think it was some billing, and I always knew what was going on around the jobs and stuff like that. He goes, Mo, you know what? If you would just stop doing that, just think on how much more you could go work on over here. You'll still know about the jobs, but if you go over here, you'll be able to know about the jobs and know this. It's like, you're right. And so I gladly let go of some of those things that were, you know, more task-oriented when I could really go on and grow the company a different way. So those little messages along the way really kind of gives you a boot. And it helps your leadership, and it helps the other people.